The creature from the swamp. Our dacha is in a very unpleasant place. The thing is that there is a swamp close to us, so mosquitoes abound, it's damp, and it smells musty. It was my parents who saved money, they got it on the cheap. So, we moved in. The house is not bad, 2-story, upstairs is 1 room, I took it. Downstairs housed my parents and my brother. At first we couldn't get used to the musty smell of the swamps, but after a week we got the hang of it. My parents went into town, and my grandmother came to visit us. She's an herbalist, she likes to collect herbs, she's an expert in them. My grandmother and I kept an eye on Pavlik, my brother, so he wouldn't go in the direction of the marshes, or rather, not 1 step from the property. The first nights I could not sleep, there were frogs and birds and a sepulchral silence. Then I got used to it. I started scaring my brother that Kiki Mora lived in the swamp and would take him away so he wouldn't go out of the yard. One night I was thirsty and suddenly I heard a soft child's crying. It was coming from the side of the marshes. Without thinking twice, I went outside and headed for the marsh. It was silence, no wind, no birds, only twigs breaking under my feet. Suddenly there was crying again. I reached the swamp, the moon was shining, so huge and somehow reddish. The branches of the trees were intricately woven into a strange pattern. The swamp mud was bubbling and rippling, as if someone wanted to get out. Suddenly a hand appeared in the swamp. I scrambled, ran around the edge of the swamp, wondering how to help. The crying did not subside, I felt terrible and anxious. The hand disappeared into the slime and the boy's head appeared, but immediately disappeared into the swamp. I was about to run into the house for help, when suddenly I heard eerie laughter. I rushed into the house out of fear, but I couldn't move. Somehow I found myself in a swamp, the mud was choking me, pouring into my face and ears, covering my eyes. I tried to scream, but the stinking water poured down my throat. I felt myself fainting and I woke up in my bed. Phew, it was a dream, thank God. It was quiet and the moon was shining. I barely fell asleep again. In the morning I told my grandmother about the dream, but she didn't listen to me. Only Pavlik sat there with his eyes wide open. Oh, great, sis, why don't I dream about that? Grandma sat, staring at one point, tears in her eyes. She paid no attention to our inquiries. Quickly the day passed, and then night came. I woke up to a knock on the window, but it was the 2nd floor. When I looked at the window I was dumbfounded, there was something behind the window. Long hair covering my face, greenish skin, curled fingers. It's the creature from the swamp, that dream. Maybe it was that too, or maybe it wasn't a dream that night. I looked closely at the creature, and it looked familiar. I recognized it when I looked closely. That's when it hit me. The creature from the swamp was me. I remembered my hatred for my little brother, my jealousy of my parents. I remembered pushing him into the swamp and telling him he was missing. His body was found at the bottom of the swamp. After my brother died, he started coming to me at night, crying, asking, why? I couldn't stand the torment of conscience, so I drowned myself in the swamp. That's where these visions came from. I guess I'm stuck between 2 worlds. Along with my brother, who didn't understand.